One of the big reasons why I keep covering Conservative Home is that, as I've said many, many times about this, but if you are, new, why do I keep, covering Conservative Home? It is because Conservative Home has a massive, massive reach into the non-parliamentary Conservative Party. It is almost considered like the de facto thing you read if you are a member of the Conservative Party. So they have a lot of influence. It's a very, very good measuring stick to see where the party is and what's going on in there. And more importantly, they do surveys. And these surveys have almost practically to a T predicted who was going to win the next leadership contest, who the emerging next leader of the party might be, to all kinds of other things that these surveys have predicted over the period of time. And yet, shockingly enough, these surveys tend to sometimes get ignored, which is a bit shocking in itself, but there you go. Remember, Conservative Home, long, long, long before people saying, "Oh, Truss is going to be like the winner of the contest," they were predicting it. Their member surveys of like who's your favorite minister or who would you like to replace Boris, she was up there, and people going, "Oh no, it'll never be Truss. It'll never be Truss." You know, I say what you like about Conservative Home, and I do all the time, but when they do these surveys, more often than not, they tend to be right. And at the moment, from what we've got from a brand new survey predicting who do you want to be the next Tory leader, well, surprise, surprise. But again, not the biggest surprise if you've been following along with whenever we've covered the polls. Who are they predicting to be the next Tory leader? Well, it's obviously Kemi Badenoch. And today we're going to go over, first of all, what the Conservative Home take is. And then we're going to read something else about why Kemi Badenoch would be an incredibly dangerous pick for the Conservatives. But before we do get into those, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there is a link to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, where again, you can click on that as well for a one-off donation. And of course, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So let's crack on then into this, shall we? This not really surprising. I'll just make it bigger so you can see. But this is what they got from their poll. Who should be the next party leader? 26% said Kemi Badenoch, 13% said Rob Jerrick, another 13% said Tom Tugendhat. Very, very surprising, by the way, Tom Tugendhat there. But there you go. 10% Suella Braverman, 9% James Cleverly. Then it goes to 3% Priti Patel, 2% Atkins, 1% Esha McVeigh, and then you have other and then don't know. We'll get into that other in a bit. But make no mistake, you have, I think, already emerging who are going to be the candidates. The idea that we don't know who the candidates are going to be is false. We already know who's going to throw the hat in the ring. And as you can see, Badenoch is the front runner. But she started off her leadership campaign, and as we've said ourselves when we covered it just last week, the shadow cabinet leaks seem to have come from Kemi Badenoch herself. Because if you think about it, who do these leaks really favor? Favors Kemi Badenoch, because here you have Kemi Badenoch taking on Rishi Sunak. Now, we're going to go, before we go down into the comments below, we're going to go over another piece, just mention something very briefly about Kemi Badenoch that was brought up in an independent article about why Kemi Badenoch would be a very, very dangerous choice for the Conservatives. So, We're picking up just halfway through this, but this starts off with this. And as I've already said, this would be an unusual way to conduct a leadership campaign, especially if you are the front runner who might be expected to sort of play it safe. And of course, referring to the shadow cabinet leaks. And especially if you are someone with a reputation for a sharp tongue who might be expected to show that you can do so dignified and collectively too. But no, if the Conservatives choose Badenoch as their leader, they know what they will be getting. She will be vivid and unrestrained in her attacks on the Labour government. She will, quote, talk like it is to her own party and offend many others on her own side. So this is one of the things that if Badenoch gets in, this was brought up as well, that if you are trying to be the party leader, you have to win friends within your own party. And Badenoch, quote, telling it like it is to her own party, offending people on her own side, do you think she's going to have many friends, or do you think those enemies that she's going to make are going to take the first opportunities to take her down? Because, oh boy, Kemi Badenoch, with all her stuff that we've seen recently and from her in the past, she has not made friends. She's made far, far more enemies. And here's the thing, at the top, when she finally ascends to that heavy height of conservative leader, she is going to have a massive target on her. A massive target on her. And I'll tell you this now, someone who tells it like it is, who really does not seem to perform well under pressure. Really does not seem to fall under pressure. Her being so, a reputation for having such a sharp tongue might not, shall we say, suddenly be the best thing. So anyway, back to this because it continues on it. So she's a very dangerous choice. She will get into arguments and possibly then on her own Twitter account. And she may very well end up offending many of the voters that the Conservatives will need at the next election. We've brought this up before, and even from all the what went wrong articles from the Conservatives saying how we need to sort of win back voters. The thing is, when you really look at the layout of how things sort of went down on general election night, the Conservatives didn't lose seats to Reform. Well, they did technically, but it wasn't a massive loss of seats. They lost seats to Labour. They lost seats to the Lib Dems. And yet it is those people who went to Lib Dems and Labour, they need to win again. And if you've got Kemi Badenoch, quote, telling it like it is, not only offending people in her own party, but people who the Conservatives would need to win back, doesn't bode well for them. Does not bode well for them at all. So this continues. So a lot of party members would likely like this about her and would very happily take that risk rather than settle for the very bland offerings of Tom Tugendhat and James Cleverly, or even the more predictable right-wing prospectus of Priti Patel. So it's very, very, very unlikely. Very, very, very unlikely, on this, that, Badenoch is not going to win. I think it's a fool's errand at this point. I think putting money on anyone else bar Kemi Badenoch is honestly a wasted bet. But it does seem like she's going to win, unless as we said, she comes out and says something really dumb and stupid the next couple of days. But hey, it's Kemi Badenoch. Don't underestimate her. She has done this before. Remember, the Brexiteers in her own party, after she said she wouldn't be an arsonist and burn all that red tape, turned around and told her, "You will never be leader." Do you think those Brexiteers are going to give her an easy ride, even in opposition? Because remember, how is Kemi Badenoch going to handle all the pressures, first of all, of being a leader, being under the constant media spotlight, and will she rein herself in when, as the leader of the party, you are expected to carry yourself with, some sort of, decorum? Remember, Boris Johnson himself, as, verbious and virtuous as he could be, I don't even know, I might have just made that word up, was himself brought up a couple of times for being, unbecoming of the, you know, position because of some of the things he said. Yes, of course, there was all the lying, etc., but that tended to get buried because of all the lies. So that is something she will have to really contend with from her own party. And like I say, she's going to be at the top. She's going to get up there. She's going to have a massive target on her because there's going to be a ton of enemies she has made that are going to absolutely love throwing slings and arrows at her. And trust me, they ain't going to be coming from our side. They're going to be coming from the right side of things, from our own party in some cases, both from within and outside of the party as well. But I just want to sort of finish this off as well, because I think this is also a very salient point as well. So this art for the Independent says this. So my assumption is that the Tory members will react to this election defeat, by now redoubling down on the instincts that gave us Liz Truss as a prime minister over 2 years ago. Braverman obviously hopes that this would mean that her time has now finally come. So far, she's the only leadership candidate to say, for example, that Nigel Farage would be welcome in the Tory party. Goes to show you what Kemi Badenoch is going to be like. And bear in mind, if she allows Nigel Farage in the party, that is going to open up a whole can of worms that she's going to have to deal with. And I don't think she'll deal with it very well at all. But just quickly going down to some of these comments. Oh, yeah, by the way, the others. Who are these others who got voted? So Jeremy Hunt marginally missed out by having 7 votes. Ian Duncan Smith had 2, Jess Norman had 2, Danny Kruger had 2, Oliver Drown had 1, Kit Malthouse had 1, Mel Stride had 1, Nick Timothy had 1. Then Nigel Farage had 13. It's again showing you where the Conservative Party partly is on this way. So someone else coming straight away. Would this be the very same Kemi Badenoch who, during the election, was so uninformed she accused the Times Radio of bad faith when they dared to ask her a question on health, and then withdrawn from the campaign and never seen again? But I suppose if you can spin out a toilet door symbols for the next 5 years, she will be a great choice. Very, very strange. I'm just trying to think, is there any one other that's like really against having Kemi on here? Surprisingly not. There doesn't seem to be a lot of enthusiasm for Kemi Badenoch here. They're all talking about other candidates that they would rather have. This is the only one that is actually about Kemi Badenoch. But yeah, surprisingly, of course, and surprising no one, Kemi Badenoch, I think probably the one who's going to win it, ultimately. She seems to be the front runner. This whole shadow cabinet leak seems to be sort of the firing line, makes good PR, makes her look good in front of people who certainly the membership did not like Rishi Sunak. Let's get that straight. The membership of the Conservative Party did not like Rishi Sunak. So her doing that and those shadow cabinet leaks help her massively so in this upcoming leadership contest. But she's not going to be a very good choice. She's not going to be a very good choice for the Conservative Party leader. Because first of all, how is she going to handle all these arguments, all the trouble and turmoil that is still going to be going on and has been going on for years in the Conservative Party? How is she going to handle the Nigel Farage question? Well, we've already heard. And if she does that, and welcomes him into the party, how does she then handle the fallout from that decision? There's a ton of questions, and I think she's just suitably really, underwhelming on this. And there's already reports, bear in mind, that Sunak had come out prior to this, or at least in a circle, shall we say, members of Sunak's team had said that they were very underwhelmed by how Kemi Badenoch had actually performed as a minister and what she had done. So if she does end up becoming the front runner, I have a sneaking suspicion, a very sneaky suspicion, that maybe there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out about her time during a cabinet minister. I would not be surprised if this came out from Sunak, or at least Sunak's, shall we say, part of the party, in an attempt to try and, torpedo her. But maybe that's for, the future leadership contest and wars. But hey, let me know what you think down below. I certainly do think that Badenoch is the one who is going to sort of win this and walk away from it. Like I say, ConservativeHome and its polls have been very, very predictive of who is going to be the next party leader. And they have been saying for quite a while now that it is going to be Kemi Badenoch. And oh boy, after the very, very messy Conservative Civil War, just trust me, she ain't going to be making many friends during that either. There's going to be a massive target on her back. Oh boy, how is she going to react to that? And of course, more infighting in the Conservative Party. Needless to say, her time as leader of the Conservative Party is going to be, might be very quick. Might, who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens. But ultimately, as I said, I think it's a fool's errand to put any money on anyone else but Badenoch for this, Tory leadership contest. But let me know what you think down below. And of course, as always, do remember to click the like and share button on your way out. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.